Normally I need to transcribe the song because generally I work with scores, and with classical music you already have the score that's interpreted, but with most popular music it goes the other way. So I make the transcription and then I go from there. Well, it's definitely a tricky thing for me, looking at any piece, really, separating how I feel about it from what I hear. I definitely feel like in the transcription process, that's something that I, have to deal with is what are the parts that I like, especially the bass parts. Am I hearing that? Is that prejudicing my hearing against hearing more other things in the song that maybe are more nuanced. But I think generally theorists analyze music that they like. So you're always going to be looking, dealing with your emotional reaction. Even if you hate a piece, you're going to be dealing with your emotional reaction. You can't separate the fact that you're a human when you're, practicing music theory on a piece of music. Well, the drums are definitely a challenge always, particularly since I don't play them. I don't really know what's going into it. I've known a lot of drummers, so that helps a little bit. But transcribing drums is something that it's difficult because I hear the way that it's influencing the other parts, especially the bass part. I hear how they work together and how much of my response is, to what's going on in the drums. And that's something that I'm hoping that I'll get better at as I go through transcribing, is being able to hear the drum patterns and somehow graphically display that in my transcription and incorporate that into my analysis in a way that I haven't yet. The lyrics, for me, I guess the drums and the lyrics really are the two most challenging for me, because the lyrics, especially Paul Banks' lyrics, can be so cryptic, but also those are the two elements that you don't get in a normal classical orchestration. Those are the two things that are not there in a Beethoven symphony. So, yeah, I think definitely, I definitely want to address the whole picture, and it's something that I'm having to be, or any theorist looking at pop music has to be creative about, is how do you incorporate the lyrics into the whole picture, the sonic picture that you get when you listen to the song, without just focusing on the lyrics or just the music, but really taking the whole sonic picture into mind, and addressing how the words can have an interplay with the rest of the music. Well, it's certainly a challenge. For so many people, music theory almost is synonymous with Western classical music, and really we've lost the idea that music theory is just a way, like any theory, it's a way of thinking about the way that we encounter the world. Theory about art or theater or science, music theory is the same way. There isn't just one way to think about music, but many different ways. And I prefer to incorporate a lot of the established Western theoretical apparatus, so to speak, the transcription using the five-stave graphic notation, using some of the conventions like scales and chords, because I do think that some of Interpol's music, especially knowing about Carlos D's music theory influence, I do think that the music can be cogently addressed with that apparatus, because I think that was in mind at least a little bit, in the construction of their songs. So I find it helpful to say, oh, Carlos's bass line is in, Aeolian or whatever. where there's a lack of a leading tone, because I think that speaks to the song. But if I were to approach a much different band, I might not use that. The main idea is that I'm just theorizing about what I hear and how I react to it. Well, again, I think that there is an aspect of the creation of their songs that you've had the thought process, okay, Daniel brings in a lick, and then maybe Carlos thinks, okay, how can I use this? And he's using his music theoretical knowledge about music to make those judgments. So I think especially with Interpol, it's really possible to make transcriptions, and it's really possible to use the Western theory apparatus to, speak meaningfully, to the music and have meaningful ways of thinking about the songs. So that was what drew me initially as a theorist, to Interpol specifically. And I think it could work with other types of music, popular music, but I just think particularly with Western music theory, Interpol just works really well with that apparatus, and we can have really meaningful ways of talking about that music with that theory.